this is Megan Martin with Orbis Environmental Consulting. You may have seen some of my nighttime macro bat photos posted to the Orbis Facebook page. Have you ever wondered how I take those photos in the middle of the woods in the middle of the night? In this video, I'm going to cover how I take macro photos at night, including equipment, camera and flash settings, and how to hold and pose the subject. Please note that I am both federally and state permitted to handle bats, and I have a rabies vaccination. I am also always using nitrile gloves over leather gloves when handling to limit white nose syndrome contamination between individuals. I use a relatively new camera with a micro four thirds sensor. Micro four thirds is a camera innovation from about 10 years ago that allowed for the first mirrorless interchangeable lens camera. The micro four thirds camera is lighter and smaller than standard digital SLRs because it doesn't have a large glass prism in it. I prefer smaller, lighter cameras primarily because I take them into the field and I have to carry them and their lenses with me in a backpack, along with any other equipment I might need. I also have issues holding a 2-pound camera up to my eye for extended periods of time. Mirrorless micro four thirds camera only weigh about 1 pound, and the lenses are half the size of full-frame camera lenses. Additionally, micro four thirds sensors need less light to get more of the photo in focus, or a greater depth of field, than full-frame sensors. They are better at night and low-light photography. The only way to get sharp, clear photos at night is with a relatively powerful external light source. I know both I and my fellow bat biologists have taken many photos using the bright light of headlamps and flashlights, but you need an actual flash to get clear detail. A macro flash uses 2 bulbs on either side of the subject so they are lit from multiple directions. With this, I can use the common lighting technique where one flash has greater power over the other. This is called a key light and a fill light. This technique is typically used in portraits. Macro lenses are essential for macro photography. Macro lenses allow you to focus less than an inch away from the lens, and this allows you to fill the frame with more of a small subject, like a bat. This photo was taken with a 30mm macro lens. Not only can you see the keeled cow car, you can see the length of the toe hairs. This photo is of the foot of a federally endangered Indiana bat and shows diagnostic features. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service requires photos like these when you capture federally endangered bats, but without the proper equipment, photos like these are hard to capture in the dark. Camera settings are as important as the equipment. This photo was overexposed. Either the light from the flash was way too bright for how close I was to the bat, or my aperture or ISO settings were poor. I put my camera on either full manual or aperture priority. I set my aperture relatively small, between f10 and f13. A smaller aperture size increases depth of field and increases how much of my subject is in focus. I set my ISO at 200. A high ISO causes a grainy effect, so the lower the ISO, the sharper the image. My shutter speed is set at 1/200th of a second, but don't worry much about that. Because the background is so dark, the speed of the flash firing and not the shutter speed will dictate how a photo will look. I put my macro flash strength at 1:4, which is the dial on the right. This means that an output 4 times stronger will come from one flash over the other. This type of setting heavily lights the subject on one side and fills in the light on the other side. The dial on the left sets flash power. I set the total power of the flash based on how close I am to the subject. For many of my bat photos, the strength of a flash is set at 1/4 the potential brightness it can output. In this photo, you can see that the stronger light was on the left and the dimmer light was on the right. Pose or hold your subject in a way that takes advantage of this. If the stronger light is on the left, face the subject towards the left side. I take photos of bats with either I or a fellow researcher holding the animal in accepted restraint techniques. The bat can breathe and move, but not enough to hurt itself while struggling. Be mindful of the animal that you're holding. Also, always remember that if you're holding and taking photos of a wild animal, whether a bat or a toad or an insect, they are going to be stressed and upset about being restrained. They think you're a predator that is going to eat them. Have your camera ready to go and get photos as quickly as possible before releasing the animal. If the animal starts to act sluggish or otherwise sleepy, let them go immediately whether or not you've taken a photo. Sleepy and sluggish can be signs of extreme stress or shock. High-strung animals like birds and eastern redbats are more prone to this, need extra care when handling, and should not be handled long. A reminder that to handle birds, you also need a federal permit or to be accompanied by someone with a permit. See the video description for exactly what equipment I'm currently using. Hopefully this information has helped you improve your own nighttime macro photography. For more Orbis environmental consulting videos, check out the YouTube channel and social media. Thanks for listening.